Today, let's look at a problem with the body lock pass. You get into your position, head position's correct, you're jamming your partner's heels in towards their hips, step over the leg, you're starting, everything is looking good, and before you know, your partner throws a hook in, that hook goes into your hip, and then you end up all of a sudden, your arm is behind you, you have to limp arm, your partner takes your back. Okay, so the situation looks like this. So we're here, bring my head into the right position, starting to lock the hands here, got an arm around. You can either do, maybe you're locking with a long arm and a short arm, or you're locking both your hands behind your partner's back. And as we go through here, I'm starting to do my work. I'm switching my hips so I can step over this knee, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to get my legs through, and then now either pass with a pummel or get to half guard. But as we're here, and we're kind of like working to get this leg free, our partner takes this left leg and throws it around the corner. And now, when I go to switch my hips, I kind of carry him with me. As a result, I end up with my arm behind my back and have to try to limp arm out, and now it turns into a disaster. So what's going wrong? How can you fix it? All right, so if we look at the position, ideally, what he wants to do is he wants to bring his arms through, he wants to put my back flat on the floor, he wants to draw his knees inside for a good body lock, he wants to work his way over this knee, go ahead please, yeah. And the reason that he's switching his hips is so that he can bring his knee on the inside and split my two legs, okay? When we first begin with the body lock, it's usually the guy's 2 feet on the inside as hooks, and then what you're trying to do is free at least one of your legs so that you can then start to get over the knee line. Okay, so he's done that. When he gets to this position here, what's really important is he doesn't stay in this kind of sit-through position, camping and trying to like put pressure on me here. Because if he stays in this position for a long time, I don't even have to be very flexible to take my foot and throw it on the inside position. Okay, once the foot goes here, it's pretty difficult to dislodge. The reason is, even if he releases his hand now to start to strip that grip, if I just push and extend, it takes his head away from my chest, and that means now I've got more mobility. Plus his arm on this side is stuck. So if I start to prop, his arm goes from being, this underhook goes from being an asset where he can hold my hip to a liability. Now it's kind of getting stuck behind him in this awkward position. As I turn my knee down, you can see it looks almost like a omoplata. Okay, so look at the problem again from a little bit of a different angle, opposite side, everything the same. So he's coming forward, he wants to trap my leg, he's doing his good job, he's starting to clear it, he switches the hips. So if he stays in this position, then look, all that's needed is for me to throw this right leg over the top, and if I'm long enough, I can even lace that leg through. Then, when he goes to put the pressure forward and kind of make use of this cranial shift, he's got his head up high. When I start to extend my leg, his arm gets exposed. So when you're in the top position and you get yourself initially into that sit-through, you can't stay there, okay? You've got to switch your hips back, all right? What are we talking about? So he comes through, and the remedy here is as he goes and he beats my leg, he can't stay with his hips here. Okay, so as soon as possible, he wants to get his far knee over my knee, and then he's gonna square back up. Once his knees go down here, go ahead and just keep your knees down on the floor here, right? Yeah. Even when he gets to this position, this is now basically a half guard. So when I go to throw my leg up over the top, even if I do get a purchase with my heel, it doesn't do very much because the two legs are split and he's now in between them in a way where I don't have a good purchase. Now when he goes to drive his head forward in kind of a cranial shift fashion, a lot of times my leg slips off. Even if I'm really flexible and kind of grab onto my leg, this is just delaying the inevitable. If I really hold on here, there's no reason that he can't start to work against this bottom leg. Yep, pummeling the leg through, clearing it, and now I'm left with nothing, okay? So if this is a situation that's happening to you, the reason is that you're sitting through and you're hanging out there too long. So I'm gonna give you one more kind of thing to think about with this. In classic Gracie Jiu-Jitsu self-defense, okay, there's a headlock defense that looks a lot like this version of the back take, okay? So I'll illustrate it for you, but Hugo's out here on this side. He's got my head, and he's sitting through, and he's got a leg up like this, okay? This kind of like Kesugatami position. So in Kesugatami, or in like classic Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, one of the defenses here is to create a frame, right? So that the head doesn't come down, and start to walk your body towards this leg and then throw the hook in. Okay, now the more Hugo kind of brings his head down, the easier it is for me to frame. Plus, once we get this leg inside, we don't even need the frame anymore. Now we can start to look to pull this elbow back and turn our body down and take the head out, okay? So if you see how this hook operates, it's the same thing. The reason that this old school headlock defense works is because that leg is up and the hips are turned. So look at one more time. So when his knee is up here, that's the time where we can take that leg and throw it in. So if his two knees are down together, it's not possible for me to do that. So the only reason that we can make that hook and then use that as a purchase point to cut around the back in that old defense is because that knee is up. And when your partner is hitting this version of the body lock pass, where they get, let me see. Yep, go ahead. Where they get to the position they want to and they step through, look, the leg is basically in the same position. So essentially, as long as he's kind of chilling out here, I'm gonna be able to throw this leg in and get a hook. But if he manages to take his knee over and turn his hips, now there's no real purchase and he can use the rest of the forward shift, the cranial shift to adjust and end up in the half guard, okay? So hopefully that was not too much of a tangent, but you can kind of see how the two techniques are connected. That when there's a leg that's up, if you're not careful, your partner can make that hook, use it as leverage and start to work their way around to the back. Doesn't matter if it's a headlock or in this case it's a body lock. So if you find yourself getting caught in that, it's the same exact problem. You need to get over the knee, get your knees together, and then start to square your body up, okay? All right, hopefully this was a helpful tip for you. If you have questions, let us know. Down below we have some links, and you can always put a comment down there. We'll do our best to respond. Thank you so much for watching.